Thank you, Ingrid, our amazing producer. Good evening, everyone. Great to see a few familiar faces and a lot of new ones. Our mission is really about bringing corporates and startups together. It's never easy to do because sometimes you feel like you're dealing with different species of human being. But we felt that generative AI is a great opportunity to bring you all together. So that's why we're here. I'd like to thank Fishburners for letting us yet again use their house to run this event, and our friends at M&C Saatchi for being phenomenal partners, particularly helping me out when I've been in a pickle. Before we get started, I think it's only appropriate that I complete a brief acknowledgement of country. We're here on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I'd equally like to recognise any people of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island descent that are with us here today. And for me particularly, I don't know about you, but when you look at the history of the Indigenous people of Australia, they have created remarkable innovations, whether that's in health or in agriculture. So for me, they're a great inspiration in the work that we do, and hopefully for this event tonight. Right, let's get started. So this is our third event. Thank you to everyone has anyone been to any of our other events? Can you put up a hand? A few of you are back. Excellent, we appreciate that. We're now, with the events that we've done, had 500 of you coming, and the reviews have been really good as well. But we've taken a look at the research, and there's been one thing that's really stood out. We've run panels, so we've run a panel on AI and governance, go figure, but it's so important. Panels on AI and advertising. But actually it's been the demos that we've run that you have all found most useful. In our first event, we had Kate and Fiona from HeatSeeker, an AI platform that accelerates marketing experimentation. We've had Pip and one of his team members, Liz, from Springboards, an AI tool that helps creatives go faster. We've had demos from the corporate side, so a creative duo from M&C Saatchi that showed us two things. One, how you can get an entire organization experimenting and learning with generative AI. And then specifically, they showed us how they use generative AI to build a monster. This monster was for a client's campaign. So those demos have now become a massive part of our ethos. And our mantra is show, don't tell. So we intend to stick with that in what we're going to go through tonight. In a couple of minutes, I'll introduce our first speaker, Dr. Ariella, and she's going to be telling her story and showing you some of the work she and her team have done with OVUM, a women's health product. Clearly, most of you are going to be here for the interview that my good friend Lucia will be doing with Matt Huffman, live from San Francisco, global go-to-market lead for OpenAI. And we'll be doing our best to create space for questions. And I know Lucia will be pushing him hard to show, don't tell. As part of that, actually, if I can go back to the slides, for that session, we're going to be running Q&A concurrently. So we'll be taking questions from the floor, but there's an opportunity to get onto Slido now. So please scan the QR code, and I'll be curating that with Lucio, and we'll try and get through, that way we'll try and get through as many questions as we possibly can. Then there'll be a bit of time for you to connect with each other. This is quite important. You'll recognize that you have wristbands. Those wristbands are in 3 colors. If I remember this rightly, if you're from the startup community, you're wearing green. If you're from the corporate community, you're wearing blue. If you don't fit into either of those, sorry, couldn't think of a better name, there's a blue category. We have one ask. At the end of all of this, before you rush off to go and grab a drink with a close colleague, please find one person with a different color a wristband, tell them what you do, and tell them your interest in generative AI, and allow them to do the same. It's the connection that will move us forward when it comes to generative AI. So that's the last request. Let me talk to you about one final thing before I introduce Ariella, which is we started this initiative about 6 to 8 months ago. And since then, both Lucia and I have been doing mini versions of this, a bespoke version to people in companies and to their teams, and equally very action-orientated show and tell type workshops. So if that's something that is of interest of any of you, then please tap Lucia or myself on the shoulder. Equally, we plan to run more of these events, and we're keen to find more sponsors in addition to M&C Saatchi, so that we can do more, we can go to different places. So if that's of interest, please tap either of us on the shoulder. Okay, let's get down to business. I've been coaching founders for about 7 years, and I think I've got a pretty decent picture of what makes a great founder. They identify a problem that is worth solving. Often they've got lived experience of that problem. Often they're using that and a passion to go further than anyone else in terms of customer insight, to use that energy and that passion to develop that product. And they can build good companies, and occasionally they can build movements. Rarely, very rarely, you can find a founder that has done all of that and just something a bit more, something a bit deeper. And that is to go about tackling not just a problem, but the way we think about certain aspects of our world. The obvious ones would be an Airbnb getting us to think differently about accommodation when we go on holiday, or Uber when it comes to taxi travel. Well, Dr. Ariella Heffernan-Marks has done exactly that with women's health. She's building an incredible product. She's solving a super, super important problem, but she's on a mission to change the way we think about women's health. Dr. Ariella.